Picture a cardiac catheterization lab at 2 a.m. An unstable patient on the table. The monitor is telling one story. The fluoroscopy is telling another. A nurse is asking a question. The phone is ringing with the next case. Everything is urgent. But the interventionalist who saves that patient does not try to do everything at once. She asks one question, and it is the most important question in clinical medicine. What will cause irreversible harm if I ignore it for the next 10 minutes? Not what is loudest, not what is most emotionally charged. What will cause irreversible harm? That question is the most powerful leadership tool I've ever encountered, and almost nobody applies it to their own life. I am Prashant Nagpal. This is the Better Daily Podcast. Let us get into it. When I am working at my workstation in the clinic, I have a work list that can hold 50 or 60 cases. Some are routine outpatient follow-ups, some are post-surgical checks, and some are trauma cases where a surgeon is standing at the OR door, scrubbed, waiting for my read before they can proceed. I learned early in my career that treating every case with the same urgency is not thoroughness. It is malpractice of your own capacity. If I spend 30 minutes perfecting the read on a routine shoulder X-ray while a trauma CT waits, I have failed. Not because the shoulder does not matter, but because the trauma patient is bleeding. Outside the hospital, I was terrible at this for years. I treated every email like a trauma case, every meeting request like a code blue. My to-do list was a crowded waiting room where everything was screaming, and I was the attending who could not prioritize. The turning point came when I realized I had a rigorous triage protocol for patients I would never meet, and no triage protocol for my own life. Chanakya, the 4th century BCE Indian strategist whose Arthashastra is still studied by military and policy thinkers today, built his entire framework around a blunt principle. The wise ruler distinguishes between what is urgent, what is important, and what is merely loud. Most kingdoms fall, he argued, not because leaders fail to act, but because they act on the wrong things with conviction. They respond to noise instead of signal. Modern behavioral research backs this up. Daniel Kahneman's work on cognitive bias identifies the availability heuristic. We overweight what is vivid and recent and underweight what is strategically important but quiet. The urgent crowds out the important. That is not a character flaw. That is the default wiring. And if you do not build a structure to counter it, the noise will run your week. Here is the triage protocol I now use. 4 tiers. Tier 1, critical findings. These are irreversible if ignored. A major health issue, a marriage under strain, a child going through something real, a manuscript deadline that affects a colleague's career. If ignored for a week, something you cannot recover gets lost. These get attention today. Everything else waits. Tier 2, stable but significant. Important but not critical in this moment. A long-term project, a skill you're building, a relationship you're nurturing. These need sustained attention. 15, 30, 60 minutes a day, consistently. Not panicked attention when they become critical. Tier 3, routine, operational maintenance, email, admin, the weekly meeting that must happen. These get time boxed. You do not let them expand. Tier 4, noise. Things that feel urgent but will not matter in a month. Most notifications. Most meetings with no agenda. Most requests that come with manufactured urgency. These get declined, deferred, or ignored. And this is the tier most high performers cannot stop responding to. The brutal truth. Most people live in tiers 3 and 4 all day and wonder why tier 1 is suffering. The marriage deteriorates quietly while the inbox gets cleared. The health drifts while the calendar stays full. Here is your application for this week. Move 1. The critical findings list. Write down the 3 to 5 things in your life that would cause irreversible harm if neglected for 6 months. Not 6 days, 6 months. That is your tier 1. Most people have never explicitly named theirs. Move 2. The daily question. Before you open your email tomorrow morning, ask one question. What is the critical finding in my day today? One thing that if it does not happen, makes the day a failure, regardless of what else you accomplish. Put that first. Everything else fits around it. Move 3. The noise audit. At the end of this week, review your calendar and your inbox. Honestly categorize where your hours went by tier. Most people are stunned to find 90% of their time lived below tier 2. That data is the beginning of change. Here is what I want you to understand about triage from inside the clinical world. We do not triage to ignore patients. We triage because attention is a finite resource, and spreading it evenly is the same as spreading it thin. The patients who get worse outcomes when triage fails are not the ones being prioritized. They are the ones whose critical finding was obscured by noise. Your life has critical findings right now. Your health, your most important relationships, the work that only you can do, the ones that will not announce themselves in your inbox. They are quiet, but they are the ones that if missed, cannot be recovered. And here is the second order insight that most high performers resist. Triage requires you to consciously accept loss in the lower tiers. You will not respond to every email the same day. You will miss some meetings. You will disappoint people whose requests fall below tier 2 on your list. That is not a failure of the system. That is the system working. The whole point of triage is that you cannot do everything well. You can only do the critical things well. Attempting to do everything at tier 1 urgency is the fastest route to doing nothing with tier 1 quality. Seneca wrote that the problem is not that we have too little time, but that we waste so much of it. The triage you perform at work is the same triage your life requires. You are the attending physician of your own days. This week, ask the question, what will cause irreversible harm if I ignore it? Then put that first. The urgent but not important can wait. The real important cannot. This is the Better Daily Podcast. Small shifts, big life. I will see you in the next one.